Today's topic is what are some breakthrough ideas to help you boost your 4Q marketing plan? Today, we've got some incredible experts. Um, Lauren Festenberg from Festberg. Sorry, Lauren. Lauren
What?
Festberg from Zoom Info, the juggernauts in data, B2B data. Katie Breidenbaugh. Katie, I'm butchering everybody's name. Breidenbaugh.
You
Forgive.
got it. You
I
did
got
a good
it
job.
right.
You got it. It's a long line.
Yay.
Good job, Nico.
Thank you. Katie Breidenbaugh from LRS IT Solutions, which also another leader in technology. Today, we're talking about B2B marketing using some of the new tech, the B2B ID graph, new analytics, using digital media. How do you reach a B2B buyer in consumer social media like Facebook, which we are live streaming on right now?
Yay.
So, I'm gonna kick off this conversation. There's not going to be a lot of slides or anything. I do have some data, and I'm sure you guys really want to get into the data. But the Change 3, what we try to do is have a discussion, an executive and open, respectful, nurturing discussion about the topic. So I'm gonna tee us up. I had an event earlier this year where I talked about how is your future business customer on Facebook. And I had someone say, and it was a great discussion. I think we had like 50 executives. So we're approaching 100 right now. But at that time, I had one of those executives that was like, Nico, really? Facebook? For real? Like, is Facebook even relevant? Facebook has something like 3 billion users. Now, is everybody on Facebook all the time? No, but the latest data says that earlier this year, the latest global study that they did is that the average American spends 2.25 hours on social media every single day. So 7 days a week, that's like 14 or 15 hours a week that they're spending on social media. And you want your brand to be in that 2.25 hours, right? So I know a lot of marketers like Katie, they hook up into LinkedIn, right? Because they're like, yeah, LinkedIn is the way to go if you want to do B2B. And you're like, they have all kind of great stuff on LinkedIn. But the deal is people don't spend a ton of time in LinkedIn, right? And what do we all do? We pop into LinkedIn, we see what's up, we see our friend won an award, or we check out a new post or something, but you don't spend as much time as you might spend on like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or Reddit or, True Social or
Mhm.
whatever, right? So if you have a B2B message and you're trying to get in front of a specific audience, you'd love to do it on social media, like consumer social media, like Facebook. But you're like, how do I do it? Because when you go to Target, they've got great ad tools, but they don't help you target by title. It's not very effective. It's not very accurate. And they don't have good analytics to be like, well, I want small businesses or what. They have things that you can do. They have proxies. But if you've got a very specific audience, like one of Katie's audiences, and Katie, tell me if I'm wrong, they're one of a few companies in the world that can support your IBM mainframes and your mainframe solutions and like really complex, very specialized solution. One of like a handful of companies. Do you go on Facebook? Do you market on Facebook?
Okay. Let me answer this. I go on Facebook. Do we market on Facebook? Not now.
Mm-mm,
We don't. We
mm-mm. Right.
absolutely don't. No, we don't.
So, and that's my
So
point, guys. So
yeah.
everybody in the room, we've got 100 people in the room. Hi, guys. Hi. So that's the thing, right? You're like, I've got this really specific group. All those people who are using all those IT directors and systems
Mhm.
administrators and engineers, they're on Facebook, y'all. They're on
Mhm.
TikTok, they're on YouTube, and you want to talk to them, but you're like, how do I reach them? So that's what we're talking about today. And that's why I had Lauren join us. Over the last couple of years, we have been trailblazing using their brand spanking new B2B ID graph, which I would say is probably the best, right? There's a bunch of companies out there, Demand Base and 6 Sense and 5 by 5. There's folks popping up all over the place that have an ID graph. Okay. And so that's not new. But what's new is this juggernaut in B2B data, Zoom Info, which is literally the Borg, and they've absorbed everybody in the whole world that had any kind of solid B2B data. And so now they're like this huge Borg, but a good Borg. They're the positive Borg. They're the boom, not the Borg. And so they've absorbed everybody. They've probably got the largest, most vetted B2B database in the world right now. And they've rolled out this ID graph. And so for the last 2 years, we've been monkeying around with it, okay? And it's awesome. And so we did a test. So we took 300,000 B2B decision makers. We chose 100,000 IT decision makers. There's about 8 million in the country. If you take everybody like who has influence, who's a director, who's a CIO, CTO, all those folks, maybe it's 8 million, a little bit more. But we took 100,000 of them, just a little snapshot. And then we took 100,000 line of business decision makers. So like, heads of operations, heads of analytics, people like that. But they're not in the IT department, they're business people. And I think a lot of the folks that are in the room, and I'm gonna show you some stats about who's in the room today. But a lot of the folks in the room, you guys sell business tech, right? And what we find, and Katie, you tell me, do you guys talk to line of business people? Are you starting to talk to line of business people these days?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That we are. And that's the direction to go. I mean, that is who we need to be talking to. It's been kind of an evolution getting to line of business. That's not where we started marketing. That's not even what we were doing probably 2 or 3 years ago.
That's
But
right.
that is who we need to talk to today. Absolutely,
Yeah,
Nico.
because they have the money, right? The IT
They
guys are like,
do.
I don't care, right? They're
Mhm.
like, I have the
Exactly.
requirements, I deployed the solution, I don't really care. And it's the line of business owners like, I need this new product lineup, or I need this AI or whatever.
Yep.
And so it's like a partnership. So we took 100,000 line of business people, and then we took 100,000 agency or bureaucrats in government. So I think they're not necessarily bureaucrats, but 100,000 government employees that are related to business technology in a government vertical. So 100,000 each. And so the first test that we did, guys, was okay, can I use ZoomInfo's ID graph, which is called Marketing OS? It's a whole suite of solutions. Can I use that to connect to Facebook and connect to LinkedIn? And can I take that data and can I upload it into X? Can I upload it into Reddit? Can I upload it into Truth Social? Can I upload it into Facebook and LinkedIn? And what do I get? So that's the first thing I'm gonna blow you guys away with. Now I do have charts, but I'm not showing any charts because I promised myself I wasn't gonna do any charts today. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna write up a little white paper, and anybody who's in the room that wants to go deep in the data, if you're like a data dog like me, and you want to get into it, then just when they call you to confirm your details so we can send you your Starbucks or have you join our lottery, then just set up a time with me and I will go through the data with you. Like I'll do all the slides and all the PowerPoint stuff, but I'm not going to do it in our discussion. So here's what I learned, people, and I want you to tell me. And Lauren, tell me if we did something wrong, if we did it right. So on
Of course.
LinkedIn, using Marketing OS, we matched 85% of our 300,000 contacts, which is amazing. So you might be like, well, how come it wasn't 100%? Well, guess what? Not everybody's on LinkedIn, right? So maybe 15% of the people were like, they're trying to be all ninja and like, off grid, right? Which I get it. Um, we uploaded those same lists into LinkedIn and LinkedIn systems matched 77%. So if you're trying to like really laser target a specific audience on LinkedIn and you want specific people, so because you might be like, oh, I can go and I can target titles and company names and all kind of stuff. You can, but if you're doing email, like I know we do with Katie, right? And like a lot of you guys doing, you're doing email, you may be placing phone calls, there's specific people that you want your ad to show to. So that's not going to work with the usual targeting that you do on LinkedIn. You need to use an ID graph like Marketing OS. And if you want the best match rate, the best way to do it is to actually use the platform rather than upload your data. So, Katie, what do you think about that?
I I agree exactly with what you're saying with that. And it's kind of funny. I'm stepping back and I'm looking at it from kind of where we've evolved and where we are today. And I'm going to be 100% honest with everybody here on this. Nico's kind of like pulled me along a little bit and said, okay, you can do this. You can do this. Exactly. It has been because we kind of come from a traditional school of you just send the emails out and you blast it out. But guess what? It doesn't work.
Mhm.
Absolutely does not work. So kind of what I want to tell people is you can start in bits and pieces with this and do not be overwhelmed with what I guess Nico's not going to share it with you today, but she has it. She's got it, all those hearts, all those charts hidden. But it is good information and it is we have to market socially and decide where is it best for who we are. And to your point, right now, no, we're not doing anything on Facebook, should we? Yeah, maybe, probably so.
Ooh.
But You
Katie, I
know,
don't want to interrupt you, but we've got somebody in the room that wants to talk. Should we let them talk? Scott, Scott, you want to
yes,
say something? All right, so I'm gonna let you talk, Scott. Don't be naked, okay? So let's see. Hey, Scott. Hey, you're in the panelists. Did you have a question? You raised your hand. You're on mute too. Did I scare you?
Maybe it was a mistake.
I know he's like, I
uh-oh.
didn't mean to.
Oh,
Yep, he raised his hand. So Scott, do you have a question that you want to ask the group? You're on. Now you can also post it if you're like, I'm too shy and I don't want to be in the panelists. I'm gonna give you 3 seconds and to go off of mute. Otherwise, you can post your chat question in the chat. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, Scott, well look,
Oh, no, Scott.
ask your question. Yeah. And the rest, everybody else, let's see. Remove. Okay. Um, whoops, I'm sorry. Oh my, okay, oh, I think I just removed him from the, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Scott's
So
gone.
Sandy, I
that's
removed
what he
him
gets
from
for
the,
raising his hand.
I know, I'm so sorry. So Sandy, can you have somebody send Scott an email and apologize for me and ask him to come back in? Everybody, if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. You can post a question in the Q&A chat, or have you join the panel because it's a discussion. It's meant to be open for everyone to talk. And Katie, I'm so sorry for interrupting you. Did you have anything
Oh,
else that you wanted to share?
no, no, I am all good. I feel sorry for Scott.
I know,
But
I'm
hopefully
so
he comes
sorry.
back. But
I know, I'm so sorry. But Lauren, I wanted to ask you, so
Yeah.
so those numbers sound right to you? So we matched 85% with Marketing OS and 77% loading it direct into LinkedIn. Is that what you guys normally see?
Yeah, that's pretty in line with average. We do see a pretty high match rate with LinkedIn. One of the best features is not only, I'm very passionate about account-based marketing. That's, and also a data nerd, so super excited for today's conversation. But beyond just targeting the account, one of the best parts of utilizing Zoom Info, oh my God, I can't even say my company, Zoom Info through Change 3 is we also have the emails. So to
Yeah.
Nico's point, when the time's ready, and it's typically really good for bottom of funnel when you're ready for that conversion, target the users directly. And it doesn't have to be LinkedIn. To Katie's point, you might be missing out on your audience. They might be on Meta. Perfect example. I think
Correct.
Nico, we were talking. I was looking at. I have this tool that shows where all these categories are spending and your
Yes.
competitors. And in the software category alone, Meta was actually the highest
it's
at
crazy.
29% of the overall budget was going to Meta versus 26%, right behind it was LinkedIn. And what that speaks to is typically if people are spending a lot behind something, it's performing well.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And so that
good.
was such a smooth transition. It's like smooth
Oh,
like butter.
I
Such a
read your
smooth
mind.
transition. Thank you.
Yeah.
Woo, I know. So, but that takes me to my next point. So we did the same thing with Meta, right? So Facebook,
Hmm.
Instagram together. We used Marketing OS. We had the same 300,000 people. Now we matched about 45% there. And when we uploaded it, I'm not kidding you, it was like 4%. So it's a huge difference. So you might be, oh, 45%, that's terrible. Now, not everybody's on Meta. But
Right.
Lauren, talk to me about it. Like, is that a good match rate? Is there something I should do, or is there something we can do to improve the match rate? But tell me, what do you normally see with the
So
match on Meta?
yeah, so that's what's interesting is the reason why LinkedIn is more successful is, it's business emails a lot of the time, but we also have personal emails or supplemental emails, and that's typically a lower pool of people that we're working with. But to your
Mhm.
point, it is higher than the standard match rate. But even a smaller subset of that, and I think we're going to talk about this soon, is not only
Yeah.
the match rate, but because you're targeting the right folks at the right time and, being really efficient with your ad spend. I think we were talking about the old spray and pray method and hoping
Hmm.
that you're right, hoping you're reaching the right audience.
Yeah.
It's such an effective and efficient way of spending your money because it's only going to the companies or the users within those companies that you care about. So, yeah, you're doing everything right. It's
Thank
just the kind of the lay of the land, if you will,
Yeah.
because there
No,
is
lay of the land.
D2C. Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I thought that was still great, right? So let's go through the other ones. All right. So you can do list match on X. So we
Mhm.
did, and out of 300,000, we matched about 30,000. So significantly less. So it's like 10% match. So we're at 85% with, Marketing OS on LinkedIn, about
Mhm.
45% with Marketing OS on Facebook. And, Marketing OS isn't yet connected to X, but I'm sure it's coming. But the match rate using the data, uploading it into the system was about a 10% match on X. And then same thing on Reddit. And I'm gonna talk to you guys about the ads in just a bit and see what you guys think. But same thing on Reddit. We uploaded our list, but we got an error on not on our side, on Reddit side. We processed the data in the correct format, uploaded into our system, and either they matched zero, which I'm not gonna say that was what it was, or they ran into a technical error because we got a zero match rate, or it just said invalid, right? Which means it was probably a no match. So that's kind of, and then okay, and the last one I'm sure everybody's wanting to hear about, True Social, right? A new guy on the blog. Everybody's like, oh, what's up with True Social? So we put them in the pool just because, not because I lean one way or another. It's because it's a new platform and it's got people using it. So, if you, as a marketer, you're like, okay, I want to see if I want to put my brand in new places. So we wanted to try it. They don't have list match. They use the Rumble Advertising Center, which I'm gonna talk about on a whole nother day because this is gonna be a positive, joyful conversation and not.
You go, you're too funny.
So we're not gonna discuss that, our experience with that. I'll just say it doesn't allow you to do a list match, or not from what we can investigate. And again, like I said, maybe my IQ is too low and I didn't do it right, but I didn't see anywhere where I could do a list match. So I would say that's pretty low. Um, so that takes me to the next thing, the ads.
Mm.
So now I know some folks out there spend thousands of dollars. We know a realtor, she spends $10,000 a month on Facebook ads, and she kills it. We have clients who spend thousands of dollars, or hundreds of thousands of dollars on Meta per month. But I'm cheap.
Oh,
I like all my pennies. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to test a budget that would fit the smallest business that you can imagine. So
yep.
I spent $100 on each platform. I spent $100 on LinkedIn, $100 on Facebook, $100 on X, $100 on Reddit, and I couldn't spend my $100 on Truth Social because the Rumble Ad Center didn't never. We made the cost per thousand. I mean, we did our highest bids. We bid it out like you wouldn't believe, and it just never streamed our ads. So there you go. But $100, okay. And I'm of the belief that if you're targeting the right people, it doesn't matter how much you spend. You're going to get your brand and your ad in front of those right people. Now, will you get a sale? Maybe not. Will they come to your website and everybody buys? No, the numbers don't always work that way, especially if you're doing, you're managing mainframes.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. I have not got one from an ad yet, but
Right.
maybe someday.
Right. Right, right. But if it's only, I think I've read somewhere it's like, maybe 10 or 20,000 decision makers that manage mainframes. I mean, mainframes like run the world, you guys. If you're like, oh, that's old tech, it is like, no, it is not. Okay. Mainframes literally run the girls with run the world with Beyonce. Okay. Right. Mainframes run
I
the
was
world,
wondering where you were going with that. I'm like, okay.
I would do the dance if I knew how, but I'm not a good dancer. But mainframes run the world. But my point is, it's supposedly a really small audience, right? A very specific group of people who are involved in those very specialized machines. And you want them to see you, right? You want them to
Right,
know LRS or whatever your brand is. So if only 100 people saw your ad, that's 100 people. That's like the right people. So I spent
right.
$100 on each platform. Okay, you guys ready for the results? So where do you think I got the best yield for my $100? So we had LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Reddit, because True Social, it never placed any of my ads. So it's 4 platforms. Where do you think you got the best yields? In terms of impressions, let's go. I'm gonna break it up that way. In terms of impressions, where did I get the best yield from my $100 of spend? Any guesses? Anybody in the room too? You can raise your hand. Oh, somebody's raising their hand. Okay, I promise I'm not gonna kick you out of the stream. I've got some Q and A's. Okay. Okay. Hey, how are you? Hi from Florida. We're good. Hi, Matt. Thank you. All right. So if anybody in the stream, ask a question in the Q and A, but where do you think I got the best yields? So I'm gonna start with Katie, my amazing marketer.
Oh, Oh, okay. I think you got your best yield. It's not going to be what I think I want you to say. So, I would like to say LinkedIn, but it's not going to be. I think you're going to get, I think it is Reddit.
It was for $100 spend. I got something like
Yeah.
70 or 80,000 impressions. And that turned into something like 100 page views. And so it was, and for Facebook, so at Facebook, I actually got the most page views from Facebook for my $100 spend. I only spent like $89, and it's something to do with, the audience, right? They're only going to stream your ad up to so many people. They have rules and algorithms about who sees an ad. So I only got to $89.10, I think, for Facebook. But for that, 4,900 of my 300,000 people saw my ads. It was 20,000 impressions. So they saw the ads maybe 5 times each over about a 2 or 3 weeks period, which is okay. It's not too
Mhm.
bad. And I got 111 page views. So
Nika, was it the same ad? I'm sorry. Did
it
you use the
was.
same
It was.
ads on all of
That's
them?
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. Now I had to
Okay.
do a teeny little bit different on X because of some technical issue we had with our account. So I had 4 ads that I ran. One was about our security measures event. We have a close partnership with BTechly. Some of you guys might have known it. They're like the big player in where business and technology meet. If you want to make better business technology decisions, the folks at BTechly will help you do that. And so we work with them a lot. We give them a lot of research. They give us a lot of research, and we work together. So we ran our test through BTechly. And one was an event, security measures event in November. One was a replay, or we had two replays to security related events. And then another one was a blog. It was a blog, but everything was security related. So we have four
Okay.
ads. And I wanted to have, I think in Facebook, it says if you have 5 ads, that's optimal. So I didn't get to 5, but I'm like, okay, I got to 4. So and some of this stuff, guys, we did on purpose because I'm sure a lot of the folks in the room, so we were over 100, we have 130, more than 130 executives in the room. Thank you guys so much for joining us. But I'm sure you guys are experiencing this, that you're like, I don't have 5 ads. I have one, right? And I don't have $10,000. I have 1,000, right? And you're trying to get the best yield. So I wanted
Hmm.
to make my test more real world. So we have 4 ads that we ran. Yeah, and we got 111 page views. Now, the third part of the test is what we call calculated assist, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But let's keep talking about the ads. On X, we ran a couple of alternative ads for a little while because of a technical issue with our X account, and I'm not even going to get into it. But you do your posts, but they don't always flow through to your advertiser tools so that you can boost them or sponsor them or whatever they call it on X. And so that's why we had to run some others because I wanted to have 4 ads. Anyways, so the best yield in terms of impressions was Reddit. The most page views per $100 spent was Facebook. And LinkedIn came in at 62 page views. The cost per page view was like $1.61 or something. So that's not too bad. Reddit, though, was like by far the winner in terms of page views and what do you call it? Impressions. But I got to give that a caveat. We never got our audiences to work in Reddit. So those people who viewed our pages and came to our website may have not been in our 300,000. So technically, I should put
Oh, interesting.
Reddit to the side. Does that make sense? It's not apples to apples. So really the winner of this test was Facebook, hands down. And I didn't run the ads on Instagram. We're going to do that next year. We're going to do video ads next time, guys, because there's a lot of conversations around videos and shorts and that sort of stuff. How much of a lift do you get from running video ads? So we're going to try that. And yours truly is going to do some ad work. And actually, we've got some shorts that are going to come from this. So we're going to use them and run some ads to see how that engages the audience. But for today, so that's what we learned from ads. So the ads, we got the most impressions on Reddit and Facebook, but across the board, X and LinkedIn, we got a ton of impressions. in our audiences for $100 spend. So what is that? What do you think? I know, Katie, you got some stuff to say, but I'm gonna have Lauren say something first because she's been so quiet. So
Oh,
Lauren, what do you think? What did you think of that?
no, I love it. First of all, you conducted the test great. You do want to make sure everything is the same in order to make sure you're not skewing anything. So same creative, same list. I think it speaks to the fact of a multi-channel strategy. You never know where they're going to be, right? Someone might be a very heavy X user,
Mhm.
versus, that I hardly spend time on LinkedIn. I might post the follow-up of this live stream
Correct.
afterwards, but it's been, I
Yeah.
think, like a month and a half since I've been on. So you're not reaching me there perhaps, but you'd miss out, given I'm a heavy X user. So I love the idea of making sure you're prioritizing where your audience is versus the channel first. And I think you might get to this, Nico, but what's great is now you can make decisions based on data that you don't have to pick LinkedIn perhaps as the starting channel. Maybe it's the most expensive, right? But to
Hmm.
what I said earlier, that maybe bring them in through Facebook and X,
Correct. And
and then
retarget.
retarget, or even do the
Hmm.
email at where you're
Yes.
contacting targeting the contact directly, and
Yeah.
there's your conversion. So it's good with nurturing and then being able to do that multi-channel approach. So I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Katie,
Yes.
girl. All right, tell me, what do you think? Tell
I
me
mean,
what you thought
okay.
about all that.
Well, first of all, I think what I like about it is you don't have to spend a lot of money to reach a lot of people. And
Hmm.
I think that in itself, especially having, a lot of partners like myself and a lot of companies out there, we have maybe limited marketing budgets. And
Hmm.
so I think the reach that we can get, I think that's what I hear. Not the reach, maybe not that much spend, but
Hmm.
also to Lauren's point, it's not one size fits all. And so because of it, we can try various avenues. Okay, you try this, you try that, you move them down, the funnel into the nurture system. So I mean, I love the data. I love how you presented it. And I mean, it kind of makes me, I mean, we're working together anyway, but I'm like, well, we never thought about this. And now come on, Nico, let's go. But
Yes.
it is. But that's really what I see out of it. And the it's not to say that I'm going to say the old school ways still aren't out there, but we all have to evolve and we all have to do things that maybe we're not used to. And maybe it's a little bit kind of uncomfortable to start because if someone would have said, "Oh, X," I'd have been like, "Oh, no, we don't need to go
Heck
do that."
no.
But
Yeah. Hmm.
it's different. And I think also from my standpoint, I have to look at our sellers. We've got X amount of sellers, at LRS, and they're all different. And I have
Hmm.
to, even though we're talking about B2B, part of it is also identifying where they are, where are their connections, and how are they going to reach out to them. So there's many different
Hmm.
elements that all go together. So
I love what you
Marketing
I
and
just
sales,
said.
marketing and
Oh,
sales alignment is
yeah.
huge. I love
yes,
that you said that,
Yes.
yes,
Katie.
I know. I love that you just said that because that is the $1 million strategy that you've got right there. So
yeah,
that takes me to the last bit, which is what we call calculated assist, and that you just teed me up, girlfriend. And what we've discovered in this journey with Marketing OS and working with our clients like Katie, is that the future of marketing is actually really, how can I say this? It is all about data and how well you use data and you act on data and you adjust to data and you respond and pivot based on that data really will define how effective you are as a marketer and how, your approach as a brand. Because I don't know about you guys, and I would love your thoughts on it. I spend a lot of time trying to get a bead on, social perception, social norms, the manosphere, the feminism, all different kinds of, perspectives, because there's a lot. People have a ton of different perspectives, things that matter to them, what they care about, and things that how they talk about things, what they think about. And even though those things might not be related to growth services or mainframes or, IT security, that person is a collection of interests and understanding the interests of your audience, whether you're talking to them about mainframes or you're talking to them about eyeglasses is like hands
yeah,
down so critical. And I know for the last, okay, I know Sandy, don't get mad. She told me I should stop making my joke about how I don't look as old as I've been in the workforce. I know I've been a consultant and a strategist for 30 years. I know you're like, you're only 30 years old. I know, but that's
A
because,
child prodigy. That's how I like to
exactly.
say.
I was Mozart, right? I was 3 years old. Um, no, but I've been doing this for a long time. And a lot of the things that we're talking about right now that actually can happen, thanks to Lauren and the team, um, this is stuff I talked about 30 years ago, right? When the internet was still new. And half of y'all people might not even be old enough. Maybe Katie, you might be old enough. I'm not sure. But
Probably.
back But back in the day, right, when it was not the turn of the century, I'm literally serious, people, right? And I was doing a lot of research at the time. I was like an economist, doing cutting my teeth as a strategist. I just got out of graduate school, turn of the century. I'm not joking. Y2K was a big deal. And back then we were talking
Yeah.
about, oh, wow, what if you could like circles of influence, and we're like, oh, what if you could do this and you could talk to people about that? And none of it was even remotely possible at that time. Like, of the 5,000 Fortune 5,000, I think 40% of them had a website. Isn't that crazy? It's like you
Yes.
couldn't even imagine it, right? But that's what
Mm-mm.
it was in the 90s, guys.
Wow.
And now, 30 something years later, right? It's like, everybody lives online. And so now we literally can do the things we dreamt of 30 something years ago. Like you can literally target people, you can have individual conversations with them. And now these ad networks actually let you have really tailored engagements with people. So the future of marketing, especially for B2B marketing, is data, like how well you can set up tools to capture data, how well you work with people like me who specialize in analyzing that data and helping you act on it as easily as possible. Because, honey, I'm going to tell you right now, AI and all that is great and I love it all, but it still doesn't, you have to start pulling out your hairdo. You just start pulling out your hairdo when you have to get and do this stuff yourself. So it's so great when you can have someone help you. We have the
Yes.
team at Marketing OS and Lauren, she helps us. I mean, every time I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, Lauren, help me. We have her to help us. You guys have us to help you, right? And I'm sure there's somebody else that'll help all of us, right? We all need help. We all need love. But I'd say the future of it is data. So that was the last bit that we learned is the calculated assist. So we were able to track um, about, let's see, how many accounts were we able to track? About 600 accounts that visited the target pages during the time of our test, which is about 3.5 weeks. And we were actually able to map those accounts to specific people that were in our audience. So even though not all the UTM data came across like we expected and all the tracking data, we were able to actually look at time of day, what page they hit, what tactics were in market, and see who came from our ads, organic and paid, and actually match them back to people in our database, which was like brilliant. Now, it wasn't super easy. Okay. So I don't want to make you guys think that, oh, you can push a button or you can go to Lauren and get Marketing West, which it costs $5 billion. Okay. So it's much more expensive than any of you would ever imagine. It's like $4,700,000. All right. It really is, you guys.
$5 billion.
It's $5 billion. It's going on, but it's going on sale. Okay, but no, if you had your own implementation, you're not going to be able to go on a screen and be like, okay, here's the people who came, during my test. There's a bunch of data work. And so we actually have a team of analysts to do it. But what we can do is we can see, who's doing what. The other day, we had somebody hit our chat and ask a question about something, and then the person got disconnected. So Sandy, who works with
Scott.
me, she jumped into Marketing West. She was like, "Oh, they were from such and such company," and then we literally went and found the person. It was the craziest thing. It was like, wow, the
Wow.
ways that you can use these tools. But it takes me to your point, Katie, which is you've got these sellers and you're supporting them, and we support you in a variety of ways, but that kind of intelligence where we can see who's coming from your ads, who's
Mm-hmm.
coming from different things, and tell you what they're doing to arm your sellers so they can start having those personal conversations. What do you think? Does that like freak you out, or like how do you feel about that?
It was funny because before you even asked me, I was like thinking, I was like, I almost have a question. I was going to kind of flip that
Yeah,
back to you and almost
yeah,
say, you have to walk that fine line because it is great, but you don't want to be the creepy stalker either. Do you
weird.
know? It's like,
Yeah, I know
how do
what you
you,
mean.
exactly. So I think that's part of our job as well. It's
Mm.
like we have to, um, how do I say it? Be respectful of the data, use the
Yeah,
data in a way where we're using it to ultimately get to our goal, but it can't be the simple, hey, yeah, I saw you were visiting this on my website, because first of all, they're not going to pick up the phone,
that's
but
weird. Yeah.
it's just it's things like that. So I guess I kind of ask you, what's your thought on that? I mean,
I
how do you
love the
find that
point you just
balance?
made. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I couldn't that's such the best question, Katie.
Yeah.
So the way we find the balance is in the case of the person who started a conversation with us on chat and then got disconnected, that was so helpful for him, right? And he was like, "Oh my gosh, I had to interrupt just he was in the car and he was like, I had a problem and so he really appreciated that we were able to find him and reconnect. He was like, "Oh, great." And it didn't strike him as weird. Does that make sense? Because we were talking to him. But to your point, if you run in ads or you're doing emails and you're seeing traffic come to your website and you're like, "Hey, I saw that you visited our website," that would absolutely be Chester molester, creepy type of stuff.
Yeah, it is a
Don't
fine
you have to
line
even
because
do that.
we do get that a lot, and I actually am a big proponent in that factor. I don't like to say it's creepy, but more bold or
Oh,
Yes. Oh,
okay.
that's
right,
nice.
like
Thank you.
just
I love
bold.
that. That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Bold.
because it adds this allure, and like I actually used to work for a competitor that you mentioned in the beginning of this. So I've heard this so long, and
Oh, my
but
live
it
stream
gets
buddy.
your attention. And
Hmm.
so people sometimes are on the fence of how personalized should I be in my advertising, because some people even call out the company name or see how other, pharmaceutical companies like by industry. That's what's great is by segmenting, you think of how you want to talk to them differently. But
Yeah.
it works because it's like, wait, how did they know that I'm from this
Yeah, yeah,
company?
yeah.
Or
Oh
how did they know I
gosh,
was
yeah.
just researching it? We do this with all the time
Yes.
with like Nordstrom's, right? You start getting, but I
Hmm.
kind of like that. I'm like, thanks for saving me time because now, I did have
You
something in my
found
cart that
me.
yes,
Yeah.
and it adds
Absolutely.
like a prestige almost. So,
It does.
I do kind of push my clients a little bit to at least test it,
Okay.
one maybe more
I love
generic and one
it.
more
I
personalized.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it.
I
And
like it,
I
Lauren.
think yeah, no, thank you, Lauren. I
Oh
think
my
we
God, of
all have had
course.
that experience where you're like, Facebook's listening to me, right? You're like, I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just talking to my
Like
husband about
Alexa.
getting some shoes, and next thing I know, I'm seeing ads about pink shoes, and it's like that you're listening to me. But I loved what you just said. It's like it's really about strategy, right?
Hmm.
Now you're armed people, everybody in the room. Thank you. It's going up. So we're almost at 150. Thank you guys. So, everybody in the room, you're armed with all this intelligence. What do you do with it? And to your point, be bold, be brave, and test. I could not emphasize that. We're testing stuff all the time at Change 3. We test for our clients. Whether you're testing the subject line or the creative or the messaging or the approach, we're testing things all the time. We have what we call full funnel strategy. So we've got agents, email, all sorts of digital ads, all type of media. And so we're always testing the approach and the messaging and the intersections between each of those things at any given day. And it's important. Some things you start with a human, right? You start on the phone and you give them a call, you leave them a voicemail because most people don't answer the phone. I don't know about you guys, but I don't answer the phone. Even if I know you, I'll be like, "Oh no, Katie, I'm gonna talk to you later." I text you back. I'm gonna call you later.
Exactly. Not her
Right?
again.
No, right. No, 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 no. But you know what I mean? Like, so I don't always answer the phone. But I do pick up the voicemail, right? And my speech to text, will tell me
Mhm.
what it said. So it's like, okay, okay, guys, see, this is like the stuff of
Another
I know
panelist,
I'm
another
only
panelist has
I
joined.
know, right? It's my other parents. I
Yes.
know I'm only 22, but I have a 5-year-old as old as I'm half a century old and I have a small child who could care less that I'm doing a live stream. Okay. So anyways, but the point that I was making is that I see he just totally made me lose my train of thought because I am old. But but it's all about, how do you act on it? So I like what you said, Lauren, be bold and you can
Mhm.
speak to people in a bold way, but we're always testing. So that's the number one thing, guys. You know, Agnes and Kristen and Annabella and Ariel and Ashley and everybody that's in a room, you know, as you guys are out there, you know, if you want to try out, you know, using a B2B ID graph, you can try it with us. You know, we offer our services at, I mean, honestly, it starts pretty low, you know, in the hundreds of dollars where we can give you access to the accounts that are hitting your website and then go from there. We have programs, we call it audience as a service that you can work with us. We have different clients that use our audience as a service to use our full funnel, you know, from the agents to the emails to the, you know, intelligence and all that sort of stuff. And so if any of you guys want to try it, you know, feel free to give me a call. If you want to dig into the actual data that I'm not showing on the call, on our discussion today, you know, again, give me a call. But the biggest thing is to test because, like Katie said, and I really wanted to touch back on this because Katie was like, you know, you have a really focused audience and you send out the emails and then you don't get any results.
Yep.
And I'm sure a lot of us have been in that situation. We're like, I got 30,000 people and I really want these 30,000 people to come to my event, for example, or download my white paper or have a conversation. I'm going to give, I saw an ad the other day. It was like, hey, we'll give you a pair of AirPods if you try our software. So, you know, it's like the stuff you got to do to like get people to talk to you. And you're like, people are giving stuff away. And so you're like, I just want people to get my AirPods, right? I got this AirPods, you know, and you send it out and you still, you know, you might get one or two responses and you're like, what the heck? And that'll be a whole nother conversation too. And I'm gonna get y'all girls to come back because we're gonna talk about email deliverability. That's a whole nother magic. But you got to test. And so what we do, I know what I remember. Now I figured out my chain of thought. What we do is some things you start with a human and the human starts the conversation and they leave a voicemail, you know, they call and that raises an attention. And then the
Mhm.
email comes and then the ads. And other times it's the ad goes and then the email and then the human. And, you know, it depends on the message. For example, if it's very personal, like you're taking
Mhm.
somebody to lunch, you know, meet insert person,
Meat. Exactly.
meet really popular salesperson, then
Exactly.
right? That might
Mhm.
start with a person. That might start with an age. Oh, I'm calling from so and so's office. They really want to take
Right.
you to lunch. And then they might get an email. And then they might see an ad, right? Then be like, hey, are we gonna have lunch, right? And it
Mhm.
becomes a really creative way that they're, you know, you've just got to be in front of people. You know, like back in the day
Yep.
when you were a young man or a young woman, that one person you just loved them and you figured out their whole schedule and you just made sure you were always where they were. Remember? Oh, you're here? Oh my gosh, right? And you waited for 6 hours for them to show up at the gym. You're like, "Oh my gosh," right?
What a
Right,
coincidence.
right, what a quinkydink. I've only been here for 13 hours, right? I know, see, you people are judging me, but you all know you've done this. You all know, and I've been married for a long time. But you know what I mean? It's like you wanna be where your person is, and
Yeah.
this is where we are with marketing. So with that being said, I think we have a poll. We do a poll, and I know I'm having such a great conversation with you ladies. We have
Mm.
often have a poll during our Change 3 discussions, and we've got 132 people still in the room, which is great. Yay. So Sandy, can you throw up our poll? Our This poll is actually not specifically about B2B marketing. It's about these leadership discussions. So what we try to do is once a month, sometimes twice. This month we're doing two. We try to host these leadership conversations to help, you know, executives and up and comers and different people, you know, to come up with the new ideas that will help you reimagine the way you go to market and how you grow your business. So whether it's new ideas in marketing like today, or new ideas in sales support like we might have tomorrow, or new ideas in leadership, or you know, you name it. And every month we have at least one discussion. And I always have incredible guests like Katie and Lauren, and they join to talk about, you know, different topics. So we want you to join every month. And thank you so much. We also have a little lottery when people participate in the poll. It's like $100, and I pick the person personally. And sometimes I do more if I'm like, oh, you're so nice. So please participate because you will not get into the lottery, baby dolls, if you don't do the poll. And
And that's your test budget. That's
that's my
your
test
test budget right
budget.
there.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly, right. And we give away other stuff too. Like we'll do like a little ad campaign for you for free, just so you can try something out, you know, try like building an audience, and we'll give you a budget like $500 or whatever. So we have all sorts of little things. So participate in the poll. Good. The number's going up. Okay, good. Do your questions.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. So the second part, and because we've got about 15, 20 more minutes, and I've just thank you ladies so much.
Of course.
And
Of
thank you
course.
everyone for joining this discussion and everyone who's on live on Facebook. If we have anybody who's on Facebook Live, thank you guys so much for joining us. This is our first live stream. It has been a journey. Thank you, Emiliano, who's our live producer, for getting us. You should have seen him and me making sure we're in the stream. Thank you very much for everyone. Like, subscribe, join our channel, whatever the right thing is, depending on where you're watching and what you're doing. We're on all the channels, so follow us. But let's get into the second part in the poll. So, thought leadership. So, we talked about ads, right? The first part of it was, you've got this audience of people. We're saying, hey, you can use a B2B ID graph like ZoomInfo's Marketing OS, and you can access it through an agency like us. We're one of the few agencies where we'll use those tools to help you reach your audience. And so then the second thing is, okay, well, what do you do? Do you just do an ad? Do you do like, hey, download a free white paper? Do I do an in-mail, right? And I think you mentioned an in-mail ad, your messaging ad on LinkedIn. What do I do? Well, I think now is the time to like shake up your whole ad strategy. So everyone's talking about UGC, right? User generated content. I know we've been doing videos for years. Me and Katie, we've been doing videos, right? We did the explainer videos and the how-to videos and the whiteboard videos,
Right.
right? And we've been doing videos for a long time. So I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about like this, what we're doing. This technically could be like a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This is a live stream. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. I'm not going to make it seem like, oh, it's super simple and you just have to go live on Facebook with your phone. Now, you could do that, but as a business, the brand interaction is not the same as an influencer. Influencers can be in the bathroom or walking down the street and whatever they do, with their camera or their little selfie stick and doing their live. And that's appropriate. And people build channels doing that. The biggest, streamer iShow Speed or whatever, and Kai Cenat and those guys like that. That's what they do. They live stream wild stuff. But when you're a business, not appropriate at all. So you might be thinking, well, what do I do? Well, you do this, right? I'm sure every single one of you that's in the room, and I would love, Katie, your thoughts and yours too, Lauren. There are conversations that your salespeople are having, that you're having with your customers that would be helpful to other people who are similar.
Agree. I agree. I agree. And you know what I would say, and this is a good example of it. When I hear like our clients, what they value most is when they spend time with other clients and just kind of having an open discussion,
Yeah,
just like this. And there's such value in that.
yeah,
And that's kind of what this is. We're not all in the
yeah,
same room, but yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, Nico.
Absolutely. Thank you. And no, and it's tough, guys. Look, I'm not going to make it seem like, oh, this is really easy. It took a bunch of effort and we're an agency. Like this is what we do, right? We do this for our clients. So it was like, and I thought as the head of the agent, oh, this will be easy. We can do it. Oh my gosh. I've lost a lot of my hairdo, you guys. Okay. And it's like it was harder than I had expected. And some things were easier. This whole live stream thing has been a pain in my keister, like figuring it out and like doing it. And that's why having a producer like Emiliano, he's amazing, you guys. If you need a producer, he only works through me. But having someone who's an expert at it is like invaluable. But the point that I want to make to the second point, so like the first one is go big on social, right? That's the first big thing. What are the breakthrough ideas that will help you boost your, fourth quarter results for co-marketing or anything else? Go big on social using your B2B ID graph, right? Find a specific audience of customers. Go big on
Yep.
all the socials, especially on Facebook. Map it out so you can have, your audience everywhere. That's number one. Number two is go big on thought leadership. And that's what we got the poll. Guys, thank you so much. We're almost at 100. Come on, let's 4 more people. I need 4 more people to participate in that poll. The second part of this discussion is going big on thought leadership. And thought leadership back in the day used to be like explainer videos and how to's and really intelligent blogs and pillar pages and white papers and research and stuff like that. And it still is, that's still really useful things to do. But what the average human, the average American buyer today is they want to get it in 30 seconds or less, maybe a 2-minute video,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe it's a 10-minute if they want to go deep, and then they'll go down your channel.
There you
So
go.
it's user generated content. So find your subject matter experts in your
Yep.
organization and give those guys an iPhone or tell them to use their, my Android does just fine. I know there's some iPhone elitism out there, but I'm fine with my Android. I'm an Android girl. Okay. I'm
Oh
joking.
wow, Nico. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, people like just get an iPhone, like,
Yeah.
but I'm just
My
not.
so your text would be green if I texted you right now.
Right. I'm
Yes.
not
Yeah.
that cool. I'm not that cool, people, and I'm okay
Oh.
with it. I'm okay with it. But just get your phone and like have your subject matter expert talk. Now, I've seen a bunch of people on LinkedIn who did figure out the LinkedIn Live, which I'm not one. But and I will tackle it. And I've seen and sometimes they just get up there and talk. And that's what I would say to all of you. Um, the last part of the future is just creating amazing content experiences, right? And start to have it be real and personal. Create these personal content experiences where you're talking to people so they get to know you, they get an idea of
Mhm.
who you are, and expose your actual people rather than having a fully polished corporate brand image and you've got the B-roll and the beautiful music and it's all really gorgeous. Actually get your actual salesperson. And Katie, we know who we're talking about,
We know
right?
exactly who we're
Know
talking about.
exactly who he's talking about. It's an inside joke, people. But there's Katie has this incredible sales guy. I was wondering, can I say his name, Katie?
Yeah, you can say his
Yeah.
name.
Pete, right? Pete Falco, who's now famous. He's infamous. He's amazing. I love this guy. He's like his personality, everything about him is awesome. And so we convinced Katie to like show, like let Pete out, right? Instead of being like, hey, talk to LRS IT Solutions. Our program with him is to talk to Pete. And that's so important because
Hmm.
especially if you're selling business technology, it's very competitive. And so, competing as a company, of course, there are things you can do, but a lot of these amazing companies, a lot of you guys are pretty amazing. And it's hard to choose. Or do I like this company or do I like that company? But what you will do is they're people. You will build relationships with people. And Pete is hard to not love. This guy is like, he's so awesome, right? And
Yes.
Katie invested in some video with Pete and a few of her guys. And so it brings them to life and it's just awesome. And so that's the last thing I'll leave you guys with as we wrap up. And I'll let Katie and Lauren leave you guys with a few parting thoughts. But the last thing I'll encourage you guys is go big in social and try something new in social. Do a podcast with one of your sellers, do videos. My leadership coach, who is joining me next week, we're talking about a hot tamale topic. Will DEI really improve your business growth? Right? Nobody's really cussed me out about this, guys. But I've gotten some choice comments about it. It's a spicy topic. But he's going to be joining us next week. And he was telling me that he's done 3-minute videos and he posts one a week and he gets like 5 or 6 thousand views. This guy is also creme de la creme. I don't know why he's working. He's like, I'm a charity case for him. And so I really appreciate that he works with me. He's incredible. But the point is somebody like that, old school leadership coach, he does a 3-minute video and he gets thousands of views. The same could be true for you guys. Like every single one of you are subject matter experts, including you, Katie. I know you're like, it's my salespeople. It's you too, Miss Girl.
You're too
You get
kind.
out there and you put your face out in people so they can get to know you. So what's your last thoughts for our group? Because we're wrapping up. We're almost at 150 people. We were 108 people in the poll. Thank you guys so much. Sadie, you can close the poll. This is amazing. Look at that. People are doing podcasts, webinars. Look at that. So last thoughts, Katie, before we wrap up today's event.
I mean, my last thought, I think it's kind of what I've been saying the whole time. Just do it. Try it. Take a chance. There's kind of nothing to lose. And it is all about kind of people and relationships. And, I'll just say, working with Nico, working with Change 3, it's been great. It really has. She referenced the whole Meet Pete campaign, but it's about getting people out there and in different ways. And then also, of course, marketing, as you said, social, go big, try it, got it. So yeah.
Thank
So thank you,
you.
Nico. It's been great. Thank you so much for
Thank you
having me
so
on
much.
today.
Oh, you were such a joy. You're always such a joy. This
Oh,
woman, she's so humble, but she's only 25, but
Oh, yes.
she's been doing this since she came out, right? Since she was born. And so she's like all the different, distributor, vendor, partner, consultant. I mean, just really amazing. And so, and I love the humility. And that's actually one of the things about LRS IT Solutions that's always struck me. We work with hundreds of tech companies and they all are amazing. They all have something special. I think everybody's actually amazing. Every person has something special about them. But the thing that's really special about LRS IT is just the humility. I know that, and I'm not saying that like
Oh,
to
thank you.
stroke my client, right? But I remember the first conversation I had, what was it, Mike? I think it was Mike, right? And it was probably 10 years ago, maybe when I first
Mhm.
met you guys. And he was like, "You know what?" He goes, "We don't recommend anything just to recommend it." And we
Yeah.
were talking about cloud, right? It might not have been
Oh, it was
maybe
Mike.
7 or 8 years ago, right?
Right.
We were talking about cloud. And he was like, "You know what? Cloud isn't right for everybody." And he was so serious about it. And I had talked to probably 10 partners that day, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, cloud." And it was a particular vendor's cloud. I'm not going to say which one. I bet you know who I'm talking about, Katie. Right.
I do.
And
I
so they
do.
were like, "Oh, yeah, cloud, cloud, cloud." And they all were like drinking the cloud Kool-Aid. But Mike was the first one. And I talked to so many partners that month and that day. And he was literally the only one that was like, "Oh, no, cloud isn't right for everybody." And he goes, "You know what, LRS?" He goes, "We're not doing the whiz bang stuff. We do what we know works. That's right for your environment. That's right for your situation." And I thought, well, that's interesting. And that you guys have really lived it. Like
Mhm.
all these years I've watched you and you've really lived it. And it's all about, that's the thing about you that's really amazing. It's like you really will, I don't want to say you tell the truth and everyone else lies, right? But I'm not suggesting that. But what I mean is you guys are candid, right?
We are.
Those sellers are like, "Nope, you shouldn't do that. I know everyone's talking to you about it and your CEO
Right.
is like, "Yeah, do this, but no, you should do this instead." And that's something that's rare that I love about you guys. So I'm honored that you joined me today.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
And Lauren, what's your party thoughts? We got 142 people in the room with us now. What do you have to say to them about breakthrough ideas and what we talked about, B2B ID graph with ads and thought leadership?
I will say two things in closing. One, this conversation's really timely. I'm sure everyone's in the middle of 2025 budgeting and planning. And so, even though this was the focus for boosting Q4, use Q4 to test and dictate your 2025 strategy. So,
Love it.
perfect timing to do this. And let that then reinforce why you need budget approval for X, Y, and Z channels. Secondly, give yourself more credit. It's funny, Katie was like everyone's so quick to give the sales rep, and same with a company. A deal comes in and sales typically gets all the glory. But one of my favorite parts is just making sure the marketer gets a nice, pat on the back because
Hey,
without
Katie, that's
you,
right.
yeah, without you, it wouldn't have. Perhaps they weren't even coming to the site beforehand as a result of your nurturing. So, marketing and sales alignment. You said it before, there's marketing attribution there. There's impact on pipe. And so just because maybe last touch attribution might not show a correlation, all your efforts together is what got you there. You'll see a difference in velocity of deals and, just working together. So it's truly been an honor being invited today. And I would love to come back for another
You
discussion.
will. We're
Exactly.
gonna have another.
Yeah.
Should
Well,
we do? Let's do one next quarter, girls. Okay. We should do one
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
video, right? Or can we do it? We'll do one in like
totally.
January or February, and we'll talk about
Sure.
like how video impacts the relationship building. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I
And
love it.
we're gonna start running video ads. Right now, Zoom Info has their own display DSP with it, which is
That's
just
right. Thank you
display,
for
but
telling us about it.
video's coming in 2025. So,
Perfect.
yeah, good
Nice.
It's a
timing.
date, ladies. It's a date. Well,
Love
everybody,
it.
we are at time. Love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been such a great discussion. Like I said, like, subscribe, follow all the stuff on all our channels.